Oh man. Welcome to
That's
another
funny.
episode of BW Flix, the average movie critic. As you just seen, we will definitely be reviewing two movies from the late great Chuck Norris, and that is Missing in Action and Sidekicks, with the funny underrated Joe Piscopo in that movie.
Mhm.
Man, B, I hope you're doing well, man. I'm doing okay myself.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Good, good, man. And again, rest in peace to Chuck Norris. As you can see, 1940 to 2026. He was born in March, died in March, and he was 86 years old. Going strong, man, until the end, right there. But we miss you, Chuck. And but we're gonna always have him in these movies, and that's why we're doing a couple of reviews here on two of his movies. Uh, Man, let's begin. I mean, last week we talked about what was the movie we talked about, man? I'm getting a little old here, brother. What was the movie we talked about last week?
The Robert De Niro movies,
Yes,
Once Upon
Once
a
Upon
Time
a
in
Time in
America,
America and
and
Limitless. Yeah,
yeah, Limitless. Yeah,
but
yeah.
today we're gonna get into our first movie for Chuck Norris is Missing in Action. Um, B, why don't you go ahead and give us some superlatives about that movie?
Missing in Action. That was done, directed by Joseph Zito, and it was starring Chuck Norris as Colonel James Thomas Braddock, M. Emmett Walsh as Jack Tucker. M. Emmett Walsh, you've probably seen him in a few movies. He's been in 129 movies over his career. Um, he was born on March 22nd of 1935 and left us in March 19th of 2024. Lived a nice long life. 129 movies he did, including The Jerk, Blade Runner, and Raising Arizona. Then he played Jack Tucker, Lenore Kasdorf as Anne Fitzgerald, and James Hong as General Tran. The music was by Jay Chataway. Production company, the Cannon Group. You might want to speak about the Cannon Group there for a minute, because I know you had that.
Yeah, so the Cannon Group. Hey, good morning. I mean, good morning. Good afternoon. It's good evening now, Danny. That's why I was confused a little bit there. Look, Chuck Norris. He did a lot of films with the Cannon Group. Also, so did Sylvester Stallone in Rambo 2, I believe. I think that was Cannon Group. No, you know what? They didn't do Rambo 2. They did the movie. They paid him a whole bunch of money for to be in a movie, and that was Over the Top. If anybody knows that, he was in Over the Top.
Over the top with Stallone, right?
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
Robert Loggia.
Mm-hmm.
So Globus and Menahem Golan, they were in the from 1979 to 1989 and 1979 and 1994 respectively. These two guys did, like I said, quite a bit. Yes, this is Chuck Norris week. Quite a bit of movies, man, and I really these are more movies.
Ronnie.
If anybody has watched a plenty great deal of movies like action movies that were cheesy, that were just the kind you sit down in front on. It was, as a matter of fact, you might remember TBS,
Mm-hmm.
the Ted, what is it? Broadcasting. What was it called? Ted Turner Broadcasting
Turner
Station.
Broadcasting Company. Yeah.
Yes. So they used to have a saying for guys who like movies. It was like movies that had Tango and Cash, that had the Red Scorpion, had uh, this movie, these Mission in Action. These are the type of movies. This is the type of movie that both those guys that I mentioned from the Cannon Group. As a matter of fact, if you look up the Cannon Group, there's a documentary about them and all those movies and stuff like that. It's great. If for anybody that hadn't seen that, it's an excellent watch. But yes, that's the Cannon Group. During that time, they had their run in the the '80s and the early '90s.
All right. And it was just this movie was distributed by MGM. The release date was November 16th, 1984. I tell you, 1984 just had movies just coming out the butt. You know what I'm saying? It's just they had all kinds of movies out. Running time was 100 minutes. Country of origin, USA. Budget was between 2.1 million and 3.9 million. It's kind of weird about Chuck Norris films. If you know, the next film is kind of like that too. Box office, it earned $22.8 million. So it did pretty good. Jean-Claude Van Damme was a stuntman in that movie and uncredited as a soldier extra. So that was one of his first takes. Other than that, go ahead with the plot there.
Yeah, so before I get to the plot, I will say because this movie it came out 2 months before Rambo First Blood 2. And hey man, you got to check some other movies out by him, man. He's got a lot of good ones, man. Silent Range, Rage, Delta Force, like you said, Delta Force 2, the Lone Wolf McQuade. There's a lot of movies out there that he's got, man. There was some pretty good ones. That are, again, for guys who like movies, because if you're looking back on them from 2026, there's a lot of dated stuff that's in these movies. But and Chuck Norris is a guy that's going to give you one or two lines here and there, same monotone voice, and a lot of kicks to the face. And so that's pretty much what you want to see, is just a whole bunch of kicks with cowboy boots on and a cowboy hat, or with an M16 or M60 machine gun in a military movie. Now, that being said, again, the concept of the film originated from a treatment written by James Cameron, believe it or not, in 1983 for the film Rambo 2. So it explains the similar plot lines between Rambo series and Missing in Action series. So if you're wondering if it has some similarities to it, that's the reason why. And that's why they came out to prevent copyright infringement. They came out 2 months ahead of time before Rambo 2. So that and the Mission in Action 2, they all came out at the same time. Yeah, Windsor, man. So do we, brother. So do we. Now, starting with the plot, we deal with a soldier by the name of Colonel James Thomas Braddock. This is the star of the movie. He's a colonel that it starts with him in Vietnam, and the film was on location in the Philippines. But anybody that does not know, it was on location there. But it starts in Vietnam, and you see him leading a bunch of soldiers trying to get to a destination point. At the same time, they're ensued with a battle with the Viet Cong, and they're going back and forth. Soldiers are dying on both sides, but they're still trying to get to their destination at their meeting spot with rescue helicopters. They get there. Some soldiers are being rescued. He's one of the ones that are left behind. And as they're dying, like I said, I mean, one of the helicopters got blown up by the Viet Cong, and you see him on one of these stands, and he sees some soldiers, Vietnamese soldiers underneath him, and he jumps and dives on them. He jumped and dived on them, and committed suicide. But it turned out to be a dream. And so he wakes up from a dream, and he's again. We're at a point where he's 10 years removed from being a POW or MIA himself. And he still has the mindset and dealings that there's still some soldiers, American soldiers, that are left over there that are still POWs, and he wants to go over there and rescue them. So he gets with a senator, he gets with another representative, and they go over there. He decides to go there, and he has opposition. He has opposition from one of the generals from the Vietnam War. That's as the B mentioned, the aforementioned General Tran, played by James Hong, and he's saying General Tran is saying that the reason why he was imprisoned is not because he was a soldier that was a prisoner of war, but because of his war crimes. And so they go back and forth with that. And one of the cool lines that Chuck Norris's character, Colonel Braddock, says, he said, the guy asked him a question and asked, did you know, Colonel Braddock, that there was a $5,000 bounty on your head? He said, actually, it was $20,000. And the reason why is because I was killing a-holes like you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, okay, it's kind of cheesy, but it was pretty cool. And he walks off. And so now they get to the hotel, and you see them. You know, he's talking to these people that are with him, the senator and the lady. What's her name again? Ann
And
Fitzgerald. Yeah,
Gerald, yeah.
Ann Fitzgerald. She recommends or asks him to come up for a nightcap, and so he does. But his intentions is not to come up for a nightcap, but to go there and change his clothes and go out and venture to do some inspecting. But clearly, that scene is pretty hilarious because she sees him. He asks her to turn around. He's getting naked and to down to his underwear, and she's thinking like, "Well, what are you doing? I didn't ask you to come up for this. I asked you to come up for just some drinks." But like I said, it turns out he's putting on his his I wouldn't say ninja
Black
clothes, but
Ops.
his stealth Black Ops clothes. Yes,
Yeah.
and so he goes out. He goes to General Tran's home, and he holds General Tran at knife point, and to get communication out of him to see exactly where there might be a camp and where there might be soldiers. And he gets it out of him and turns him to turn over. He gets rid of leave, and Tran tries to kill him, but he unsuccessfully misses, and Braddock kills him with a knife. And so this ensues a chase from all of his trans soldiers trying to take him down, and they don't. And he gets back to the hotel, gets to the room, puts the lady down in the bed just in time before they get into the room and find out that he's been there the whole time. But and she becomes his alibi for the movie to be there. And so the other general, because as I'm going a little bit further ahead, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. He has a few flashbacks of some of his moments at the as a prisoner of war, right? Missing in action soldier, and he gets tortured. Of course, he's hanging from his wrist and with nothing under his feet. And the General Ving is the same guy that works for Tran that's looking for him that breaks into the door into the hotel room. He cuts him, and they just show a small glimpse of the torture that he might have incurred from the Viet Cong. And that being said, he tells him Back to the Future in the hotel room, how convenient. He said, "Don't be here tomorrow. You need to be gone." And so, I'm paraphrasing that. And
Hmm.
so that doesn't happen. He goes to Bangkok to look for a friend, and that's the gentleman we're known as Jack Tucker. What a name there! And that's played by by Emmett.
It is.
What's going on? You should, man. Nobody
An
likes
eye
Chuck
for an
Norris movies.
eye.
What's going on? Yeah, that's a great movie. That's actually it made him an international star, is what it said. But
Yeah.
he's got a lot of really some
Hmm.
underrated gems that people should check out, man. But I'll get into that later. Um, but with that being said, Chuck or Braddock definitely goes to Bangkok. He finds his friend, and he has assassins trying to kill him the whole time. They know where he's at. They're trying to kill him, and of course they don't. He doesn't get a scratch. As a matter of fact, Braddock doesn't get a scratch the whole movie, except when he was
That's Chuck Norris movie for you.
that's Chuck Norris. He doesn't get one scratch, and he's a one man wrecking machine in the movie. And I'll get into that at the end. But yes. So he gets his partner. He finds him in the bar. He tell him what's his situation and what he's trying to do, and tell him he owes him some favors. So he needs a boat. He has a boat. He needs some weapons. He finds weapons for him, and they go get the weapons, get the boat, the tactical boat that they need, and get the weapons, and he brings him to where he needs to be in Vietnam. But while they're there in the boat, General Ving happens to be on the boat, and I think we're going to get to the part where there's an actual scene that we want to show you a clip of this particular scene.
Yeah, this is a different general, but he was also part of the encampment that he was being held prisoner at, and he was
Oh, in
also
the
the one
hotel, you
that
mean?
took
In the hotel?
no, this is actually when he goes back, and he remember he catches each one of them, and he
Yes.
kills each one of them because what they did to him in the camp, and then while he's trying to go find the rest of the MIAs. This is another
Yes.
general that was in there. So yeah, this one
Okay.
here. So like
Oh
any
man,
other
that's
other Chuck Norris movie.
That's part 2.
That's part 2.
Yes. That's Missing in Action 2. That's when he was actually a POW, or when he went back, like you said, he went back. That's Missing in Action 2.
Sure about that? Because it came off the same clips. I
Oh
thought I saw
no,
that in
yeah,
the
yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah. I was like, man, he looks older here, but I mean, yeah. It's okay. It's okay. I still love that in the movie, but yeah, for sure. That's Missing in Action too. That dude, that guy, he was in too. The Asian guy. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It is what it is. But that being said, and that's why we do this show, because we get to talk and laugh and joke about
But
our
it's
movies.
Chuck Norris kicking butt. What else can you? I mean,
What else could exactly? What else could it
Yeah.
be?
So
Uh, let's say him and Tuck, they get to the area where they are, and Tuck said he lets him know he's not going on the island. So he goes on the island himself. He finds a camp, the camp that the general told him about, but he surveys it, and then he has plastic explosives. He has, like I said, his machine gun, and when the time comes, he blows up certain areas to cause distractions. He doesn't get a scratch. He takes out all the soldiers that were there and goes into the little prisons and open them up and finds that there's no American soldiers in any of them, but there are some Vietnamese soldiers there that were imprisoned as well. And so they tell him thank you and said that they're going to grab their guns and fight for their freedom as well. And so they take off. He goes back to the boat, finds out that the soldiers, he finds out from the Vietnamese soldiers that 3 hours ago they moved the soldiers and they're taking them along the road. So that's along the river. And so they're traveling along the river. They see the soldiers in the 5-ton vehicle in the Jeeps. And then of course they start shooting at them. And they're taking out these vehicles and they shoot them down. And what's funny is that 3 soldiers that are in one of the 5-ton trucks, the boat that they're in, they shoot it with a grenade launcher. And so the grenade launcher blows the boats up. It doesn't blow it up, but it lifts it out of the water, and they fall in the water, and they're sitting there laughing. And all of a sudden, this one of the things you showed at the beginning, Chuck Norris raises up out of the water with his machine gun,
the infamous
and the guys
scene,
start. Yes, they stop laughing, and he obliterates it with a barrage of bullets, and he's taking everybody out. And of course, he goes and saves the POWs. And then here comes another group of Viet Cong, and they get in the vehicle and they drive along so they can get to another boat. Now, once they get to the boat, they get to the rendezvous scene for the helicopter to come to them, but they're in between the soldiers that were chasing them and soldiers that were in the boat, and also soldiers that were coming in the tactical boat. So they're taking on all these guys. Of course, the guy that's on the big boat that belongs to Tuck, he's shooting, trying to give them some cover fire, but he gets killed. And then of course Tuck sees it and said he says a cool line, "I'll see you in hell" to Braddock, and jumps up in the water to go get on the boat so he can take over the machine gun and start shooting or a 50 cal, whatever it may have been, and shooting at the tactical boat that gives him time to get on the helicopter, and of course he blows up, and Tux, subsequently dies, as the movie pretty much alludes to. And then the helicopter blows up the tactical boat, and where they are on their way to Saigon, or uh, Cho Min, what is it, Ho Chi Minh
Yeah, Ho
City?
Chi Minh. Yeah, Ho Chi
Yeah,
Minh.
yeah, but it's formerly known as Saigon. Anyway,
Hmm.
they go there, they land there, and they provide proof that there were American soldiers there, and the movie ends like that. And B, I'll let you go first with your review of it and what you think of it, and I'll come back with mine, with right behind you.
Well, I think the thing about it, you could tell that there was 2.1 million, between 2.1 and 3.9 million dollars spent on this set. The explosions were okay, but it's like a lot of stuff on there was kind of like, eh. But again, we're in the 21st century. This is the 20th century, so a lot of stuff hasn't been made. They had to do the best what they can to be realistic about it. I do like the premise of the fact that it was based on a Vietnam War POW MIA issue that was going on at the time. It was going on at the time of the movie when it was set. There was a lot of MIA soldiers, and of course, your State Department was always saying, "Oh, there's not any MIA over there," because this is big bad America. We can't be showing any weakness that we got anybody over there. And that was the whole thing about Chuck Norris's character. He wanted to go over there and prove to the United States and to Vietnam, hey, and to the world itself, hey, there's MIAs over here, and I'm going to find them. So, it was good. I like that point. I like the historical point of the movie, and it played pretty well to it. And Chuck, of course, is Chuck. That's why we have memes made for him, because he doesn't get touched in this movie at all. In fact, I think that his Tuck gets blown up with his boat. So and that was his ride and die right there, because he was very reluctant in a lot of scenes he was talking about, but hey, he stuck by his side when it counted. So it was pretty good. I like the movie. I'm not saying it was the greatest movie ever just because of the cinematography, but the history and the fact that Chuck Norris didn't do. I mean, be an actor. I mean, Chuck Norris was one of like the greatest actors ever, but I mean, he was like one of those typical action film actors. So I'm gonna give that one about 2 popcorns, 2 dancing popcorns, man.
Yeah, look, I'm kind of on the same fence as you. Look, it had good action. I thought the action was pretty decent for what it was,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean for the budget that it was given at that time. The location, although it was in the Philippines, I love the location. And I thought it had a very similar feel to what most
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam movies that you would see. A lot of greenery and trees, and the old river and stuff like that, and the waters. But it was cool. I mean, even the cities, like when they were in the cities, and like the clubs, the stuff they went into, kind of had that reminiscent feel of that. Uh, the acting was average. It was average. I thought that, I mean, for what Chuck Norris was, he did the same thing in every movie. I mean, in most movies that he portrayed him, he had the maybe 1 or 2 sentence lines, monotone. He was stoic, and I think that was just the persona that they portrayed in the characters. And yeah, honestly, that's okay. That's what you want to see in a colonel, that's like, that's special forces. That's not going to be like laughy, jokey. He played that role well. He played that role. I mean, although that's what he played in every movie, but again, he
Mm-hmm.
was typecast. And but hey, he made it work, and I liked it in those movies. And but it was kind of unbelievable if I had to look at some things that would just didn't seem like it worked. The the one man versus
the
everybody,
whole camp.
and not. I mean, at least Rambo got shot in the side, and he in Rambo 3, and he had to burn the hole through and everything. Even though that was far fetched, but there was he didn't get
You know the other
anything.
thing that was funny though? Didn't he just have 2 bombs in his whole kit? How come
Yeah.
everything was blowing up and he just put 2 bombs? I'm like, where's the rest of the explosions coming from? He only put 2 bombs there. What the heck? That's funny.
And come immediately come from underwater and everything. I mean, although I researched that machine guns can still work,
Mm-hmm.
can work from under the water, but the water inside the gun, you still have to kind of get rid of the water and for it to work. He immediately comes up and just starts shooting. So that I mean, it's funny, but it's also pretty cool. I mean, I saw this when I was a kid, so it was a great movie at that time. Now I'm just looking at it, I kind of laugh at some of the things, but some of the things hold up. Like you said, the premise of soldiers that were POWs, and this is what you see. This is when a time when it was America versus everybody. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
us versus Russian, us versus Vietnam, us versus anybody. It was just like Central America. We just wanted everybody in the United States to win. And this is one of those movies that you wanted them to win, and it kind of does that, especially at the end when they showed that they had soldiers. He saves them, but again, this kind of reminds me of Rambo 2, when you see Rambo comes back with everybody in the helicopter. Although he's flying the helicopter, but Braddock is not flying the helicopter. And of course, Rambo comes back and lets the guy know he's coming to get him. He flies down, but they fly down and just show proof. The movie ends like that. I'm gonna give this for just for being Chuck Norris and him passing. I'm gonna give it one extra butter. I'm gonna go 3 buckets of popcorn, and I think that's the main reason. And hey,
There you go.
I
Hey.
love it.
So three
But
three
yeah,
boxes in the butter
shout,
because he's Chuck Norris.
shout out to Missing in Action. And if anybody doesn't know out there, there's 2 subsequent sequels. There's a Missing in Action 2 and 3, and they're
Well,
all on
obviously, you know there's a
the
mission in
Canon Group.
action too, thanks to my bad video there. But anyway, it's
It's
fine,
okay.
whatever. It's cool.
It's
It's in the
okay.
same film category. It's in the
That's
it's
right.
Chuck Norris and it's missing in action, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, don't make a difference.
That's right.
All right. So we're gonna go on next to
Yes.
Sidekicks.
Yes, this is our
And
second movie, and I'll just say uh, it's I'll give the IMDb and the Rotten Tomatoes. It was made in 1992, 5.3 rating on IMDb, and 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. So again, these are low budget movies, and I'll let you finish with the superlatives on that, and I'll go into the premise of the movie.
so the interesting thing about Sidekicks, it really showed a growing of a lot of things. Chuck Norris's family was directed by Aaron Norris, which I believe is his son at the time. Wasn't his son? Yeah. And it starred Bo Bridges as Jerry Gabrewski, Mako as Mr. Lee, Jonathan Brandis as Barry Gabrewski, Chuck Norris as himself, of course, Joe Piscopo as Kelly Stone, and Richard Mall as Mr. Horn, who was the gymnastics teacher in Barry's high school. The music was by Alan Silverstreet. He's done a lot of stuff too, TV and movies, as a matter of fact. So that was pretty good that they had him on there. That is the best, yes. Popcorn movie theater butter. Yep. Production companies was Vision PDG and Gallery Films, distributed by Triumph Films. Released on April 9th, 1993. Running time is 101 minutes. The country originated, USA. The budget was between 8 million and 10 million. I told you about this whole, they don't know exactly. I'm trying to figure that one out. You should know exactly how much it was. Box office, it made 17.1 million. So it did kind of, if it was 6 million, kind of made double. If it was 10 million, it kind of got close to double on it. Well, Jonathan Brandis, who played Barry Gabrewski, and there was a child actor at the time. He starred in 19 movies, including Pet Sematary, which he narrated, Ladybugs, and Heart's War, the movie he did just before he passed away in his short career. Unfortunately, he committed suicide on November 12th, 2003. He was suffering from bipolar disorder. A lot of people at the time thought it was the fact that he was depressed because he wasn't getting a lot of roles in movies. I mean, he kind of said that a couple times, but his father came out and said he saw that he was a manic depressive before, and he should have did something about it at the time. So that's gotta suck for his dad when he's remembering this incident, and it's like, dang, I could have done something for the boy. But that's the reason why he passed away, because he was a bipolar. He had bipolar disorder. So fortunately, that happens to young actors. He was a decent child actor too. I give it to him. He was a decent child actor. He just wasn't in a lot of stuff. He didn't get a lot of roles. But to be in those movies those were pretty big movies for him.
For sure. And rest in peace to Jonathan Brandis.
Yeah.
Also, same thing happened to, I'll give a shout out because you mentioned the bipolar disorder. Robert Carradine recently. If you all remember, he was Louis Skolnick in Revenge of the Nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he also died the similar way, unfortunately. He suffered with his brother came out, David Carradine came out and said that he suffered with bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a thing, people. That is a thing. So if if anybody's out there that just if you see some unscrupulous things going on with that person, talk to them. I know sometimes people don't like talking about stuff like that, especially the people that they're suffering, the ones that are suffering from it. But try to do anything you can to intervene, because there's no reason for you to lose your life over that kind of stuff. There's medicine, there's things that can help them along, and people around them that can keep them propped up and positive in their life, so they don't have so many, they don't have the disorder take over their life. So
yes, mental illness is no longer taboo. So
that's right.
Most people are very open and help to help take care of these sort of things for folks. And so it's much better to where people don't hide these things anymore. Seek help if you need it. But that being said,
so
go ahead. You go ahead.
This cast was pretty well put together. Thinking about Danica McKellar was also in there. That was his girlfriend. Wasn't at first, because she said, "Oh, I just want to," That's a part we're going to get to that I did not like. But anyway, so she was in Wonder Years, if you didn't know that. Richard Mull, of course, was in Night Court. Joe Piscopo started on Saturday Night Live. He had a couple of movies as well. So it was a good combination of actors and actresses on this movie. And it was put together. It was funny. But we're going to go to that plot.
Yes. So I really thought this movie was very funny, or the character of Joe Piscopo as Kelly Stone. He stole some scenes in this movie, and I thought he didn't get enough airtime on this movie. He should have got a little bit more, but the parts that he got were very funny and had
hilarious.
The movie is about a kid who's asthmatic in high school, typical introverted kid, daydreamer. He does a lot of daydreaming. As a matter of fact, a lot of his daydreams are about him being a sidekick. That's sort of the premise of this movie. Him being a sidekick of Chuck Norris's idol. And so it starts off with him daydreaming about being a ninja with Chuck Norris, rescuing the damsel in distress from the villains. And he gets interrupted from his daydream from his teacher. His teacher happened to be the one he was daydreaming about as the damsel in distress. I think we've all been there. With that being said, the teacher knows there's an issue with this. Obviously, they allude to this. This is not the first time she said, "What is it this time that you're daydreaming about?" And so we got to talk to your father about it. And we start building up characters here. We're building up the teacher, we're building up the father, Jerry Gabrowski, and of course Barry Gabrowski is the main character. And of course you got a bully there, Cellini. He's one of the kids, and this kind of reminds me of the Karate Kid because his character is the blonde character on the Karate Kid, pretty much. He's the leader at the karate dojo. Uh, so maybe they made this as a sort of a caricature of that type of movie. So maybe
Yeah.
a parody slapstick because it was definitely everybody played a similar role. Joe Piscopo's character was the mean Cobra Kai uh, master. So
Mhm.
they're kind of similar, but he was goofy. Uh, and
He was
so
definitely goofy.
there's a lot of daydreaming. The girl they like you mentioned, is Lauren. Her name is Lauren on the show, played by
Hmm.
Danica
Hmm.
McKellen. Is McKellar? What's her
McKellar.
McKellar? Danica McKellar. She, like you said, you think she has an interest in him. She does have an interest in him, but it's more so because the bully alludes to that she's not really into you. She just feels sorry for you. And so there's a lot of again daydreaming still going on, and I think we might have a. I want to just go into one daydream in particular. If you have a video, we want to show you kind of where this character is at with his daydreams.
So in this particular daydream, him and Chuck Norris are in a Western, and Joe Piscopo is of course, the outlaw, and they're in a saloon. Um, Leading up to it, they asked what they wanted at the bar. They said milk, and everybody at the bar laughed at them. And Chuck Norris like, "Well, I'll have a milk too." Now laugh, laugh. I dare somebody to laugh. But anyway, so this guy is sitting at Joe Piscopo's character is sitting at the bar, sitting at a table, and he's jeering on Barry, and it gets to the point where they get up and face each other, and this is the part that comes up here.
Ooh. That was for nothing. That was for something.
So when we
Yeah.
see this, I mean, this is the mindset of somebody that might be bullied, that might want to see themselves as better than what they are in their own life. And I mean, I can relate. I mean, I had to fight as a kid, because I was little, and you had guys out there, they didn't like you, if they for whatever reason it was. I mean, just like it is, just wanted to be pick on you, and so you had to end up fighting.
Mhm.
I definitely fought. I've had some black eyes. I gave them back. But I had to learn the hard way. I couldn't just daydream about anything. But this kid, and that's what I'm about to allude to. In this movie, he he finds out. I mean, the teacher talks to the father, and she letting him know where he's at, and finding out that maybe he hadn't been spending enough time with him. He's working more, and he even has to make a more of a concerted effort to spend more time with Barry, and that's what happens. And so they try to go and get him signed up into karate school, and this is the school for Kelly Stone, and find out that he's not really what he envisioned, because he found him to be more of a jerk.
Mhm.
He's not like his idol Chuck Norris. The things he read about, the things he watches. Chuck is more of a even kill, a really nice and humble guy. This guy is far from humble at all, and he yells at his dad for which his dad kind of deserved to be yelled at for walking on the mat with shoes on when everybody else
Mhm.
got their shoes off. But again, besides the fact he still was just a jerk, and so they
Mhm.
leave, and his teacher lets him know that her uncle's coming into town, and that he understands he's coming. It's kind of similar to him with the daydreaming and all that kind of stuff like that. and he's kind of a special guy, and that he could teach him to do martial arts, and that's what eventually happens. He gets him, to starts to training him and getting him to understand more so different things and start build. And as he's training him, he's building up his confidence. He's building up his confidence. You see, he threw dough at him in a restaurant and hit him in the head, and he said, instead of calling him he called him a nickname. He called him Dumpling instead of calling him because he hit him in the head. So
with a dumpling,
so because of the dumpling, it's hilarious. But as time went on, he starts to build up more skill set, which is still kind of funny because it's only a few days that he's becoming this elite karate kid. He's in the gym. He's climbing the rope. Chuck Norris, his in his head is with him, teaching him how to climb a rope, and he does it. And of course, he gets bullied again, and because he's embarrassed in front of everybody. But again, the time as time marches on, and the more training he gets, the more he becomes more confident. And of course, their first battle between him and Selene ensues in the gym, and they threw blow for blows, Brian. They threw blow for blows. I was impressed, and so was the coach. The coach was impressed too. That he stopped him, but he looked at the kid and said, "Good job, good job." Because he stood up to the bully, and the things that he realized he can do because of all the training that he had experienced inside of 10 minutes.
Right.
He knew that he had become something bigger and better than himself. And what you alluded to that you didn't like is the girl initially told him that she only liked him because she only liked him in a certain way, and that's because that's just life. Women,
I
that's just
understood
how it
that
is.
part, but the point after when she said that to him, he ran home crying. I'm like, dude, you're getting trained by martial arts and you go home crying like that? Come on, it ain't even that serious, bro.
You can see there was some underlying issues there, though. You could see the mother was gone. He was in a single parent home, like in Karate Kid. There was a single parent, except it was a father this time, not a mother. So they try to not show you that they're copying Karate Kid by putting a single father instead of single mother. But at the same time, look, yeah, like you say, he goes home and cries. He's asthmatic. He throws down his pump, but he gets the girl. He gets the girl, and that's kind of what happened in Karate Kid. He got beat up, and the girl he kind of pushed her off and ran off, did his own thing, and when he was mad, he did this kind of the same thing. This is what happened in this movie. But again, he ends up getting the girl after the fight, and they go to the zoo together. And of course, he gets invited into a karate tournament, and this is where all the fun happens. And so they get to the tournament. There's three of them. It's Jonathan. Jonathan Brandis, but Barry. It's Mr. Lee and Miss Chan, the teacher, Miss Chan, her nephew. His nephew. Excuse me, his niece.
His niece, yeah, because that was
his niece. Yes,
that's her uncle. Yeah,
right. But they get there to sign up, and you need a 4-man team. They only have 3 people. Lo and behold, who shows up at the tournament? Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris, the idol. And they go and get him to sign up because they need a 4th person. And he talks to Barry. Barry turns around and sees him. He tells him he signed up to be their partner, and he wants to not just to help him out, but also to humble Kelly Stone.
Kelly. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Kelly. And so with that being said, they start ensuing in all these different the tournaments. I guess I don't know what to even call it. There's different parts of the tournament. Anyway, they're doing each individual person doing their moves. They're swinging swords. He's doing Barry does his with nunchucks. He wins his section of the tournament. Miss Lee is a participant. Miss Chan is a participant. She does her karate moves. Mr. Lee breaks bricks, and Chuck Norris versus Kelly Stone. That's probably the most hilarious part of the movie is when they fight each other and he beats the crap out of him. And he can't really take it because he tries to do everything. He takes his shirt off, and man, Joe Piscopo was ripped at that time, man. I
He
don't.
was, yeah.
He was pretty ripped at that time, man. And he shows it off too. He flexes and then runs towards Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris kicks him in the face, and he flips and hits the ground.
As
It's
you saw in the
hilarious.
intro, yeah.
Yes. Uh, but the end they're tied, and so there's a tiebreaker, and they have to pick one from each group to go out and do something. And of course, they pick Shalini the bully, and they pick uh, Barry Jabrowski. I was about to say Jabroni, Jabrowski, to go face off against each other, and they both break bricks, and Shalini tries to break 9. He only breaks 8, so he's sort of disqualified. And Barry breaks 9 with fire on him, and that ends the movie. Of course, close to the end of the movie, he thanks Chuck Norris for being there for him, making a dream come true, and he asks him to do dreams really come true? And he tells him, I love this line. He said, "Yes, if you really want it bad enough." And of course, he said he saw his daddy. I gotta go. I gotta go be with my dad. And turns out that Chuck Norris part right there was just his last daydream. And he turns back, he's gone. And he goes back to be with his dad. But then this kid in a wheelchair rolls up and sees the magazine that was ripped in half by the bully that he ended up taping back together. And it looks like it's going to ensue another or begin another dream for another kid. And so, and for me, this is a heartwarming movie, regardless of it being a carbon copy of the Karate Kid. I think that it was pretty decent. It was decent for what it was. It had some great scene stealing shows of parts with Joe Piscopo. I thought he played a great character, villain, goofball slash goofball. I mean, he embodied that role, and I think everybody else, all the characters were built up well enough for the movie. It wasn't a high budget movie, but it was good enough for what it was, I thought, and it brought to me some memories of being bullied but overcoming obstacles. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like this kid just laid over. He went through some things. He had a support system too, with his teacher, his martial arts teacher, his father, and everybody grew. Seemed like everybody grew from this because it was just a lot of things that everybody shows some strengths and they also showed some flaws. Even the grandmaster, she mentioned to him that he was a daydreamer himself, and he kind of explained how he overcame those things and how uh, it's okay to have dreams, but as you get older, you have to curtail them. You can't always be a dreamer. But you have to keep some of the ones that will make you wise and pretty much grow up is what he was saying. And all in all, it was a pretty good movie. I'd watch it again and I'd recommend it to somebody. And I'm going to give it 3 buckets of popcorn. I wouldn't give it more than that because again, it's not award-winning acting. It's not award-winning cinematography or direction or script. But again, a heartwarming movie, pretty funny, and I really liked it. So yeah, 3 buckets of popcorn for me.
Uh, I thought this was actually. I guess it was because of the comedy where it wasn't as serious, and Chuck Norris didn't have to be as serious in this movie. He could be, because a lot of the things that he said in there was like when that whole scene where they were he was daydreaming about the Western, and he was like, "Oof," that's tough when he got smacked,
Yes.
or when Piscopo fell on his face, he was like, "Oh, that's not good." So I mean, there's a lot of things in there. He didn't really have too many lines in the movie, but the fact that he was just in it because he was the kid's idol and his imaginary sidekick, for Chuck, was really good. I think the things that the little nuances in the movie too. The teacher, I think the teacher and his father kind of had a thing because they were having dates and stuff like that. And also the whole thing with Mako a la Mr. Lee was pretty hilarious too. But I mean, there's little nuances in there that I liked. I can't give it 3. I can still give it. I'm still going to give it 2 because it was funny, but again, it was more like watching the funny version of the Karate Kid. So yeah. I think I'm going to give that like 2 buckets of popcorn, 2 dancing buckets of popcorn, might as well, So
hey,
yeah, they're all dancing. They're all dancing.
Yes.
But
well, 2 versus 3.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, it was a funny movie though. I'll tell you what. Between the 2 movies, I enjoyed this one better than I enjoyed the. I mean, even though the first one had meaning, missing in action because it was about MIA, and you got to respect that kind of stuff. Right. I just thought this one was better. It was better put together. It was funny. In the action scenes were goofy as they were. There was some actions. There was some scenes in there where they actually, like him busting through the bricks, and the other kid not busting through the bricks all the way, and Kelly going off on him for not doing it. It's gonna crack. So yeah, it was a mixture of hilarity and seriousness at the same time. It was a kid that got bullied and came on up. Just like the Karate Kid, same thing. It was just a funny version of it. So that's the reason why I gave it 2. That's,
And speaking, you mentioned Kelly Stone again, fussing about not breaking all the bricks. When Barry goes and breaks his bricks and everybody's cheering and jumping up and down, he's smiling like, and he looks over at Cellini and smacks him in the back of the head.
Yeah, like I said, little nuances like that were hilarious. Yes. By Joe Pesci, Piscopo. He was funny as heck in this movie. I forgot how funny he was. I remember him being on Saturday Night Live with Eddie Murphy.
And those 2 were Frank Sinatra and Stevie Wonder. Yes. Yeah. We said you are blind and not when you said I am black and you are white. You're as blind as a bat and I have sight. Hilarious, man.
Yeah. A meathead that was a comedian. That's what I always used to think of him as. But he was always kept in shape too. The couple other movies he played in, he was in pretty good shape for those movies too.
Dead Heat. If you remember that with Treat Williams.
Dead Heat. Yep.
That's a great movie, actually. So we got enough time. We're gonna do a bio on Chuck Norris. Just a few things. And so I mentioned to Elizabeth, she said she only liked Force of One, I believe, An Eye for an Eye, the movie. But I wanted to give everybody a list of his catalog and some of the movies that he's done, which are actually pretty good. But Chuck Norris was born March 10th, 1940 in Oklahoma, and he died March 19, 2026 in Kauai, Hawaii. He was 86 years old and still looked good for his age. And, even though people made a lot of memes of him, Chuck was still doing his thing in 86, man. He was married twice with 5 children and had several grandchildren. Chuck was a martial artist. He was an actor, screenwriter, and author. He had multiple black belts. He had black belt in karate, taekwondo, Tang Soo Do, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and judo. And he also had his own martial arts that he created, was Chung Kuk Do. He served in the Air Force and was in won numerous martial art championships. Before the big screen, he served as a martial arts instructor to the celebrities, and his first movie that he got into was called The Wrecking Crew in 1968. This had garnered the attention of his friend and fellow martial artist Bruce Lee, and subsequently invited him to portray as one of the villains and in the Wei of the Dragon in 1972. And he also began taking acting seriously, as noted by his friend Steve McQueen, told him that he should take it seriously. And he next starred in Breaker Breaker in 1977. The second lead after that was Good Guys Wear Black in 1978, which catapulted him into action stardom. He would go on to into action films such as A Force of One in 1979, The Octagon, which I've seen, it was a great movie, 1980, An Eye for an Eye, which Elizabeth alluded to, 1981, becoming an international star at that point. Also in 1982, Silent Rage. I keep wanting to say Range. Silent Rage in 1982. Forced Vengeance in the same year. Lone Wolf McQuade in 1983. And of course, this after this movie, this is when he signed with Canon for a multi-movie deal. And those were the Mission in action movies and the subsequent sequels, 2, and 3. And then Invasion USA, the Delta Force, 1986, Firewalker, 1986, A Code of Silence, 1985. He also did Invasion USA in 85. And in the 1990s, this is where he went on to TV. And of course, B, you already know where I'm about to go. He was Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yep.
And he did that from 1993 to 2001. He had a long run for that. And my grandmother used to watch that show all the time religiously.
Yeah, I
man.
used to watch it all the time too. I like Walker, Texas Ranger. And I think
Yes.
that fit his persona too, because you remember he was born in Oklahoma. So, it's a cowboy country. And I think
For
that's
sure.
where he really felt at home with, is being a cowboy. So it worked with him.
Absolutely. His final role was The Expendables in 2012, and he was a best-selling author of books on martial arts, exercise philosophy, conservative politics, Christian Western fiction, self-help, and a biography. Rest in peace, Chuck Norris. And look, great man, both on and on screen. You can tell it was just, he lived a full life, I believe, and he lived to the fullest. And again, rest in peace and condolences to his family out there. Now we only have about a minute left. I want to tell everybody out there, thank you for anybody who's chiming in. We appreciate you. Who's watching? We appreciate you. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. If you like us, please like, subscribe, and share with anybody that you know out there. We're only going to get better. We're only going to continue to talk about multiple movies. I didn't pick any movies just yet, and that's what I forgot to do.
Surprise!
But surprise, we're going to put it out there. I'll probably have it on. If you all send us a movie that you want us to review, put it in our mailbag or put it in the comments. But the email is bwflix. bwflix2026@gmail.com. Again, that's bwflix at 2026@gmail.com. But we will have movies ready for you. It might be a surprise next week, unless we can get it to you in the middle of the week. But we thank you for coming out and watching us, and we will see you next week, same time, same channel, at 8:30. Excuse me, at 8:00 p.m. BW Flix on YouTube. Have a good one.